Welcome everybody, welcome to another episode of Wheels Boutique. My name is David Nussbaum, your host, and today we have quite a special car, quite a special Ferrari. I don't really think it needs any introduction, but I will do so anyways. It is the 296 GTB. It is the latest and greatest mid-engine Ferrari, and we've had the pleasure of being able to work on this car already. So if you guys follow us on Instagram or on our website, wheelsboutique.com, or any other social media, then you'll know that we did this car about a month ago, almost 2 months ago already. So right now, today's date is the 23rd, and we did this car on the 1st or 2nd day of February. When I came in that morning, I won't forget it. I came in, I parked all the way on the outer edge of our parking lot, and I saw this car from a distance, and I saw it and I said, this looks really similar to an F8 and a 488, but there was something a little bit different in the rear end. As I got closer, I instantly and immediately realized that it is the 296 GTB. So it's a little bit in smaller of a size than those cars, but overall the same sort of rear mid-engine layout that Ferrari is becoming famous for and have been famous for multiple decades. So on that day, we got the car in, we did some Anarchy wheels, which I'll get into in a little bit, and we did some Novitec Sport Springs, which I'll also get into in a little bit. And we kind of blew up the internet, blew up Instagram for those couple of days. It was the very first 296 in the world with premium aftermarket wheels, and we did none other than the Anarchy AN17s. So when this customer was here, we had a couple of different wheel sets that we had built for this car that we thought would work for this car, and we allowed him to make the decision. There was another setup from a different brand and another different model of Anarchy wheel, but he settled on these AN17s, and I actually think that he did the best choice on that. The reason I say that is because the AN17 is what a lot of people will call a star design, and so it's very reminiscent to what a lot of people will associate with Ferrari wheels. So, you know, Ferrari for many decades have been doing a 5-spoke design or a star design, and so this plays right into that kind of ethos. With the wheel color, it's gloss black, and with the wheel size, we did a 21 by 9.5 in the front and a 22 by 13 in the rear. Now, since we've already fitted these wheels onto the car, we know exactly the perfect wheel fitment specs for it. This car is running it. It runs the 255s in the front and a 335 in the rear. And of course, there's no rubbing whatsoever. That's what we're known for. We're known for our absolutely perfect fitments. And I'm just looking here, looking at how beautiful this entire setup is. The stance of it, we obviously Novitec hadn't gotten their hands on this car just yet. So we did some test fitting and some research and development on behalf of Novitec, and we fitted the proper lowering springs on it. So if I was to say the amount of drop that it has from factory, I would say about 1.5 inches for both the front and the rear. It is adjustable, so this client didn't want it to be too slammed. So we have what's called the 1-finger gap here, which in my opinion is probably the best in terms of look and in terms of the ride quality and ride comfortability. Because if you drop it a little bit more, it might get too bouncy and you might scrape on a couple things here and there. So I think this is an awesome setup. So going back to the actual car and not the mods, this has a twin turbo 3.0 liter V6, and it also has a 123 kilowatt hour battery. And so when you combine those two power plants together, the car is outputting approximately 819 horsepower. 0 to 60 is good for under 3 seconds on this. So it looks phenomenal. It goes like hell. And I think that if you kind of look at some of the little features of this, like the glass that Ferrari added on this car, it's a perfect Ferrari. They have been kind of shying away from allowing people to see the engine bays on their mid-engine V8s as of late. But so this is a really cool, unique little outfit here. And it's one of the reasons why this car is back here today. So back in February, when we did this car, we were only able to get photos of it because the whole day took us, went by us for doing development on on the springs and test fitting the different wheels, and the client had to leave at nighttime. So if you look at those photos on our website, you'll see that the photos were taken inside the shop at nighttime. The customer had to go. So the reason that this is here is because Novitec released their exhaust system on their YouTube channel. Make sure you go and check out their channel as well, because this thing sounds absolutely amazing. I have no idea how Novitec got away with making it sound so good, especially considering that it is a 6-cylinder engine, but they did it, and I cannot wait to hear that thing in person. And so hopefully this customer, which is inside right now talking to Ben, will get that deal wrapped up, because we'll have this back in the channel. We'll have a before and after. We'll have all that footage for you guys, which Novitec doesn't have on their channel. On Novitec's channel, they have the car, and they were going through the different things for the exhaust system, and you hear the car already, how it sounds after the fact. So a lot of my guys will like to hear a before and after, so we'll try and get that done for you. Hopefully, first step is closing the deal out right now. Another thing that's very unique about the Novitec exhaust is that they completely change this rear tip. So you kind of see it's a rectangular shape. They replace it with a panel that has 2 circular exhaust tips, I should say. So it's a center exit exhaust essentially, which is becoming more and more popular for hypercars, supercars, very limited edition luxury cars and things of that nature. So I actually do not mind the shape of it, but I do mind the color of it, because there isn't really any titanium or silver elsewhere around the car, but this little portion here. So if they had this in black, I think that would go a long way towards just completing the rear end of the car. Going back to the color scheme, this is going to be called Red Imola. It's a color that a lot of people have asked me for when we posted on our Instagram account. I kept on forgetting what the name was. I kept on having to bug the client, but it is Red Imola. I will not forget it, because now I remember it for the YouTube channel. So you have the Red Imola, a lot of the black accents across the board with the gloss black Anarchy AN17 wheels. Now, when Novitec comes out with the carbon fiber, I would imagine the very first thing that they're going to be replacing with carbon fiber is this massive plastic side skirt. I cannot believe that cars of this price tag still come with plastic fiber with plastics and in that size. The thing is basically the most dominant thing when you look at the car from the side. So I'm glad they're gonna get rid of that. They'll probably add a little deck lid spoiler, maybe even a roof spoiler, even though I'm not a fan of roof spoilers. Definitely a rear diffuser, and then you can leave it up to Novitec to add some little pieces, maybe on the side air intake, right in front of the mesh where the intercoolers are, and maybe some little components here on the front end. I think looking at the entire car, the front end is basically the portion where you can kind of have the most amount of carbon, because there's a lot of nooks and crannies in the entire front end. I even see this little wing that's in plastic. That looks pretty cool. That is definitely for aerodynamics on this car. I'm sure it flexes as your speed gains, and I'm sure that Novitec is going to replace that with carbon fiber. But let me show you guys on the inside, just because a lot of you have not seen the inside of these cars. So I do have the key on me in one of these pockets. Let me hit that unlock button, press the little door handle, and then you have the interior. The interior is very nice. If you're familiar with the SF90 interior or the Ferrari Roma interior, it looks very, very similar. Ferrari, with all their new models, is coming out with kind of that updated generation of interiors where you have a lot of touch buttons on the steering wheel, and a lot of everything is on a screen. So that is very cool. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once I got used to a bunch of SF90s that we've done, I was able to jump right in and know exactly what to do on here. So you have the black leather seats, the red stitching, you have red accents on the door card, carbon fiber for the shift paddles, and carbon fiber down the side middle tunnel that has the 1 cup holder, or is it 2 cup holders? I can't even see. But so it looks very high tech. It's very modern. I think they're getting more towards techie rather than like sporty or even luxury. So, you know, that's debatable on whether or not you like it, but it's definitely an advancement forward with all the technology that these cars are coming out with. So kind of some final notes on it. It's a little bit smaller than the 488s. I know, and the F8s, there's an F8 tucked behind one of the cars here in our lineup. If you put them side by side, this car is just slightly smaller. I would say maybe 10 to 15% smaller. I've never looked at the measurements of both cars side by side. And when I say both cars, I mean this and the F8. But if I had to put that percentage on it, I would say maybe it's 15% smaller. Maybe they're the same size. I don't know, but from my visual perspective and the styling cues that Ferrari has done, it definitely looks a little bit smaller. One comment that the customer made was that this is essentially a baby SF90. It feels like a baby SF90 to him. It gives you almost 85% of the performance of the SF90 for a fraction of the cost. So I think the SF90 obviously is going to be, the horsepower numbers start with a 9. This one, as I mentioned, is at 819, but that's going to be before we do the modifications to it. So when Novitec comes out with that carbon aero, the exhaust, they're also going to come out with a Intronic, which is essentially their tune, and that's going to be a piggyback module where you plug in right to the car and gets you another, I don't know, probably safely estimating maybe at least another 75 horsepower. Hopefully get this bad boy into the 900s and drop that 0-60 time down as well. So let us know what you think in the comment section. Tell us what you think about the very first 296 GTB in the world on premium aftermarket wheels. Again, the Anarchy AN17s. We had a very similar claim with the 488 when it first came out. We were the first ones in the world to put wheels on the 488, and we also used Anarchy on that car. So that car is also on our website as well. So go to our website, wheelsboutique.com. You can sort our photo gallery by Ferrari, and then you could put the 488 and you go all the way to the bottom. You'll see that first 488. It might have been the F8 now that I think about it. First F8 in the world with wheels. It had the Anarchies on, and then we'll have a brand new section for this 296 GTB. I'm sure this is going to be the first of many. I cannot wait to see the other specs that my clients are doing, and I cannot wait to see for the convertible version to come. So that's going to be a really unique setup. I think Marvin was commenting that as is, the car almost looks like the roof is removable as it is now, but it's not. So, you know, Ferrari was thinking down the road on how they're going to incorporate that folding top. But I cannot wait to see that. Cannot wait to see what Novitec comes out with, because we will have this car back on the channel. We'll have the before and afters, as I mentioned. So as I mentioned, let us know what you think. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you smash that like button. Reach out to us either by phone, by email, on Instagram, Facebook. Any way you can find us, just give us a holler. We would love to set you up with a badass, can I say badass on YouTube? Yeah, with a badass 296 or any other Ferrari that you might have. Until next time, take care, be easy.